morning, Mr. Lisham's here, and today we're going to deal with surds. Okay? What is a surd? A surd is when we have square root, in fact also cubic root, but the examples we're going to deal with today is square root of a number that is not a perfect square. So, if I have something like square root of 9, then you can all tell me what's the answer? 3. Because 9 is a perfect square. But 48 is not a perfect square. Okay? So we need to be able to simplify. That's the instruction here. Simplify these surds. Okay? Now the easiest way of doing it is with a calculator. No doubt. Okay? If you put that in your calculator, press equal, it will simplify it for you. But you need to be able to do it without a calculator because sometimes, the skill involved, if you have something with letters inside, then the calculator doesn't help. So we need to know how to do it. And what we're going to do, we're going to split the 48 into two numbers that one of them will be a perfect square. So we're looking for factors of 48. Okay? That one of them will be a perfect square. For example, what can you think of factors of 2? 2 times, so we get 48 is 2 times 24. But the problem is, none of these are perfect square. 4 times 12, okay? Also 4 times 12, and get, that actually works. That actually works. Yeah, let's do that. Why did I think about something else? There is something even more. 16 times 3. Okay, right. Let's start with your suggestion. Right? Okay. So Jacques is telling us, hang on, 48 is 4 times 12. Okay? Now we've got a rule, an exponent rule, that tells us that the square root of AB is equal to what? Square root of A times square root of B. Okay, so what do we achieve from that? Okay, we say square root of 4 times square root of 12. Now, 4 is already is a perfect square, right? So I can do, what is the square root of 4? 2. So I can call it as square root of 12. Okay? Now the problem is that 12, I can still simplify it.
2 times 6.
2 times 6, but none of them perfect square.
3 times
3 times 4. So I can write it as like this. 2 times square root of 3 times square root of 4. And you see what I've done? I've skipped a stage. Because 12 is 3 times 4. And 4 is also a perfect square. What is the square root of 4? 2. So this is 2. So then I get 2 times 2. The answer is going to be 4 square root of 3. Okay? Are we happy with that? But now, this is a bit of a long way. I wouldn't have gone there. Okay? It's a little bit of trial error. You're just practicing it a little bit and trying, and you can get there. But you can get much faster. So when you're trying to find factors of 48, always go from, how should I say it, from, 4 times 12. Try and see if there's a factor that is larger than 4. Okay? And there is one, and that is, so you could have gone like this, 3 times 16. Okay? What I'm trying to say is that 12 is not as big as 16. Okay, see, that was another root we could have taken, right? 3 times 16 is 48. What's the square root of 3? Well, it's just there. What is the square root of 16?
2.
So the answer is 4 times square root of 3. We get the same answer, but we did it in one step. Okay? What would make you choose that option rather than that option? Because you agree with me, that takes much longer, and time is a problem in maths. Okay? You want to get the factors that are bigger. Okay? So the biggest factor of 48 is 48 and 1, right? 48 times 1. But there's no perfect square. Then we can think about 2 times 24. 24 is not a factor, is not a perfect square. So then try 3 times 16. Yes, 16 is a perfect square. I'll just pause here. Taking a step forward. Sometimes we need to add 2 surds. Okay? Now, how do we do it? Well, the square root 2, there's nothing we can do about that. But we can factorize 8. Okay, how are we going to factorize 8? Just like we did here.
4 and 2.
4 and 2. So we can say, okay, the square root of 4 times square root of 2. Right? Can you see that square root of 8 is square root of 4 times square root of 2? Now square root of 4 is 2, right? So what I've got here is square root of 2 times 2 square root of 2. Okay, now we've done stuff like that last year. Okay, think about square root 2 as like an x. So what it says here, it says x plus 2x. 1 square root 2 plus 2 square root of 2. So how can we simplify that?
3 square root 2.
That's it. The answer is 3 square root 2's. Oh, not square root 3, square root 2's. Okay? 1 square root 2 plus 2 square root 2 is 3 square root 2's. It's kind of like saying x plus 2x equals 3x. Okay? You don't need to write that, it's just to make you think. Right, let's do one more. Okay? So now I've got these two surds. We're going to use the same formula, okay, that I always tell you about, that you need to remember, a minus b squared. Help me out. What will be the answer here? A minus b squared. How do we simplify that?
A squared
A squared
minus 2AB
minus 2ab. You gotta sing it, guys, plus b squared. That needs to be here, not somewhere inside there that you have to look. Okay? So now, what is your a? This is your a, square root.
square root.
That's your b. Okay? So we're gonna start, let's write the whole thing. Normally, I wouldn't expect you to write the whole process. You can make some shortcuts, but for now, we'll do it together. Slowly. So we're gonna take a and we square it, right? That's this bit. Then we're gonna say minus 2ab. So minus 2 times square root 2 times square root 3. Minus 2 times a times b. Plus b squared, that's square root 3 squared. Are we happy so far? Okay, let's start with this. What is the square of square root 2? We looked at these things. It's just 2. Square and square root cancel each other out, so we get a 2. Let's skip this one for a second. We'll come back to it. What is the square of square root 3? 3. Okay, so the only thing we need to think about is this. Now here is, we're going to work in reverse. If I took square root 48 and I split it into 2 factors, this is probably better, and I square root each one of them, then I got that. What we're going to do now, we're going to work in reverse. Okay, so we're going to put the 2 here, he will stay. What is square root 2 times square root 3? What is this thing? Smashing together.
Square root 6.
Correct. Okay? It's just going to be the square root of 2 times 3, square root 6. So we're going to write it as minus 2 square root 6. Okay? Alright? Now, is there anything I can do on this here? 2 plus 3. Okay? So these two I can add. I've got 5 minus 2 square root 6. And that's it. That's it. Okay? I'll just say one more thing and then I'll answer the question. The square root 6, you might think, hang on, do I need to split it? Should I split it back to square root 2 times square root 3? No. Okay? You only do that little split if you can get one of them as a perfect square and then it comes out. You understand what I'm saying? If I give you a question to answer like this, square root 6, simplify it. You don't want to write square root 2 times square root 3. I mean, is this looking more simple than that?
No.
Definitely not. So you leave that. There's nothing more to do with that. It's only if you can split it into what do you call it? A perfect square. That is simpler than that. Okay? You might disagree with that. I don't know. But that apparently is more simple than that. Okay, I'll pause here for some questions.
Goodbye here. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.